Yeah, that's the Steam Crave GLAZ V2. And what do we have lined up for us today? We have the AROMAMIZER Supreme V2. It's a V2 showdown. We are going to build this sucker today. We're going to start comparing all three of them. Now, I've been using the ones we've already built. And let me tell you, I've gone through a tank of juice on both of them. My wife thinks I'm nuts. But I'm enjoying this. The flavor output on these things is fantastic. And it is so quiet when I'm vaping them. Just amazing. I mean, compare that with our TFV9. Do you hear the difference? Wow. All right. Let's get on with our build. First thing we got to do, open this sucker up. Nice. Oh, here we go. This tank is a lot smaller than the AROMAMIZER Plus V2. And this is supposed to be the Supreme. All right. What we have here. Twist off, top fill cap. Looks pretty good. See what the deck looks like. Look at that. Smaller than the one we did yesterday. I'm wondering if these coils we've been using are gonna fit in here. Look at that. Yeah, it'll fit. Dual 3mm coils. Got them pre-bent. At least this one I do, because this was the one that went flying the other day. Turns out it was in my keyboard. Well, like Weston Champlin says, ain't nothing to it but to just go and do it. Now, I'm gonna do my best to keep this in frame because I already found out that I haven't been doing a good job at that. And I apologize, but this is a little more difficult than it looks. So, there's our build deck. Let's get our little tool in here. Put a little more light on the subject so you can see what I'm doing. Move some of this stuff out of the way. Nice. Smooth, buttery smooth. Take a look at our coil. How's that looking in there? Well, How is that gonna fit with our air slot? It looks to be a little tall. And I got a little difference in the size of this coil. So, gotta throw them in our coily tool. And as you can see, it does stick out 1/2 millimeter longer on the one side. So we'll snip that flush and get this sucker in here. All right. Making progress. Uh-oh. Am I using the right size? The bigger one won't fit. Push it in nice and tight. All right. I don't know. Let me use the one that was in the box. They should all be the same. However, this coily tool, if you take a closer look, has a flat one, Phillips, and a hex. This one has 2 hex, a big and a small one, and a Phillips. Let's see if this might be a different size. Yeah. Got that done. Now, time to do our little trick on the coils. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I got a little trick I do here with these coils. Okay. First we're gonna do is pull out the coily tool. We're gonna put it on the coily tool. And we're going to twist them a little further, a little more. That's what we're trying to end up with. Coils that are relatively straight like that. Because the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take our coily tool, our non-marring pliers, and we're going to put a little bend in this. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And now, need to make sure that our bends are in the right place. Vaping is a hobby and a craft because when you get into rebuildables, you need to make sure you get your stuff set up the right way. Keep them nice and tight. They're lined up evenly. We're gonna get our coily tool out. Look around. 4.5 is what we were doing last time. We're gonna drop them in there. Gonna get our little snips. And watch them as they go flying across the room. No! I'm gonna step on that later. I have to yank it out of my foot. Wish there was a better way of securing these things when you have to snip them, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, Clapton coils are non-ferrous, therefore making them not able to be picked up with a magnet. And the one side is just a hair longer than the other. So we'll just snip them down a little bit. Get them suckers in here. Make sure they're the same height as the other one. Yeah, all right. Got that tightened down. Got that tightened down. Coiling tools, straighten them out. There we go. So far, so good. Uh-oh. Need a battery. All right, 4.1 volts. 0.23. We're doing pretty good. Lining up right. Now, 0.23, give them a little dry burn. Get rid of the hot spots. Looks like we got one there on the bottom. I'm going to squeeze these together first a little bit. And we'll give them a little rake. I use ceramic tweezers. Ceramic tweezers are not conductive. So when you're working on these coils, get in there. Make sure this side is tight. Tighten that one down a little more. Make sure this goes back in the box so I know which one goes with what. Gotta get these coils to heat up evenly. Right in the middle there, looks like we got a short. between the inner coil. Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. Much better. Very nice, very nice. Time to reach for the old shoelace cotton. One moment. Yeah, had to put a little more light on the subject. All right. We are now going to take our snippers very good. Check our temperature. You know, if you pull it too far, all you gotta do is just keep pulling it and run it through again. It looks like it would end up in about the right spot. Leave a little room for trimming. Okay. Now, being that this post is so small, whoa, where am I at? I'm not even on camera. All right. Now this is a little smaller deck than the one that we had before. We're gonna rake this out. Get all these strands to be identical, parallel to each other. Thin it out a little bit. So we don't want to shove a bunch of cotton into that base. Get our cotton cut evenly. And then take a look and see how it goes. Still a little excessive, but if we do the tuck and roll method, make sure we got all the flat spots out. We're going to grab this and start to gently tuck it in to that slot. Start on the end. And work our way around to the other side. This one requires a little more directional placement of the cotton. There we go. Now you gotta feel this. This isn't something that I can literally describe. why I'm not talking as much as I did in the previous videos, because this is something that you literally have to do by feel. Because you are feeling with your tweezers down in the bottom, and you don't want it compressed down in there. If you need to, you can literally grab some of the end and separate it, pull it out, because you don't want it shoved in there. If you shove it in there, you're going to choke off that juice flow from the bottom of the deck here. As you see, the tweezers, they come on down through the bottom. And if it's too tight in here, when the cotton expands to fill this, it'll be like a cork in a wine bottle. And you will literally stop that from flowing. So, I'm gonna make sure it's nice and loose in there. Squeeze it up and down a little bit if you have to. Just trying to get it to line up. Fill that slot that's in there. And let the bottom of the juice flow do its job and supply the juice you need. Okay, we'll trim this down some. Rake this thing out. See how it's literally just like a rake? Any strand of cotton in there that doesn't go to the edge of the coil is getting pulled out. This is thinning it out and allowing us to have maximum capillary action. Trim it more to length. Use your thumb as a guide for your scissors. Makes it easier to hold it in the same place. And come with a straight line. Now, way too long. However, there's some strands that do stop here. That actually is going to make it easier for us to trim it. Okay. Gonna start on this side this time. Get that cotton to go down into that slot and start working on the next section. And little by little, we're going to get this cotton fit down into that slot. A lot more finicky than the other two tanks. So we got that cotton in there. We don't want it to go all the way down. We want to make sure that this section is pretty much on this side, and then we're going to try and get this section, the seed in there on this side. And as I can already feel, it's getting pretty tight in there, so I have to thin this out a little more to get all of it to fit in there. Break it out some more. And the other thing that you can do is you can literally cut this way into there. And now what we've done is freed up some more of those. We can wick it out some more. working it till you can get all of this into here. And if it's still too matted down, you can always use the bow tie method like you do on the Kylan, where you take the bottom of the cotton coming out of the coil and you put that into the channel, and then you take your shears and you lop off the top of your cotton to create a bow tie. Kind of like how we did on this side here. Created a little bow tie. This side, some of these things are just sitting on the top, and when they're laying over here, the capillary action will provide juice to all of that. So we'll feel how it is. Just with the tip of it, you know, that feels with the cotton. Make sure it's not jammed in there, because the spacing in this is a lot less than it was on this one. Not too shabby. So, where do we have the rest of the straw? I'm gonna get the juice, throw some on the coils, get this cotton wicked up. Couple quick pulses to heat up that juice. Thin it out a little. Ah, yeah. Smells delicious. Somebody needs to invent smell-o-vision. Okay, see if this fits onto there. Line it up. Make sure we got it in the channel. Have to spin it until we get it to really fall in. Make sure it's all the way down in there. All right. Then we can unscrew it. Throw on our base cap. Grab a paper towel to clean up our little mess, because I overjuiced it a little. And I gotta open up the third box. Oh man. Wrong way. Where is it? Here it is. It's our Taggerz, SMOANT Taggerz. I'll admit these boxes do feel a little chintzy because of how much plastic is on them. However, I still do love our little rabbit ear, dog leg. And let me once again remind you, battery safety. Always make sure the wraps on your batteries are all 100% intact. If you got any nicks or burrs on them, it's time for you to rewrap them. You can get on Amazon and find it, because it's basically just heat shrink tubing, and they will sell them as heat shrink battery wraps. Make sure you get the ones for your size battery. If you're using 18650s, then that's the size that you need. But you can get yourself boxes, or you can go to your vape shop. They're gonna sell them. But here's the box that I picked up. I'm never gonna need to buy battery wraps again because I don't think I'll ever have this many batteries that are gonna need to be rewrapped. Yeah, you need to do them every so often. However, if you're careful with your stuff, it won't be an issue. So, we got our third mod here for the comparison. This one's blue, and I need to throw in a set of batteries. Samsung 30Q. There we go. Let's take our tank, put it on the box mod. See what she looks like. Not bad. Take the top off. We're gonna fill her up with some juice. See how she vapes. Yeah. Alright. Don't want to cross thread them. Try this out. What we have here. .23. Run this thing up, 70 watts. Give it a try first. Go up to 80. So this one's got a lot smaller drip tip on the top of it, and it looks like it's fixed, not removable. So that's a con. I'm gonna play with that. Be surprised to see if that doesn't come out. That's got to come out. The other ones have 810 drip tips on them. This is more like a 510. Chimney's a lot smaller on this one, so it's compressing your vapor. $80 watts. I've got the AROMAMIZER Plus running at 90 watts. And because the chimney is a much larger bore, this one doesn't feel hot like Supreme. Still quiet. Let's look at the glaze. Got that running at 90 watts too. Vaping is something that's very customizable to your taste. Do you like your vape to be hot or cold? Now, just like, you know, your coffee, you can get a piping hot cup of coffee right out of the machine. It'll be hot. How long do you wait before you drink your coffee? Or if you're like me and drink coffee all day long, you're drinking coffee that's actually cold by now. Vaping is the same way. Some people like a much warmer vape, and that's their warm vape. Some people like a much cooler vape, and to them, this one which is running at 80 watts, would be a little too warm. Now I got the airflow wide open on this. And it's producing a warmer vape than this one is at 90 watts. Turn this one up, 95. Yeah, at 95, the AROMAMIZER Plus V2 is producing a vape that's the same temperature as the Supreme is at 80 watts. And a much smaller drip tip. Let me switch you back overhead as I knock everything over. And let you see the difference. Okay. You see how that's so much smaller? Both of these are 810 drip tips. This is comparable to a 510 drip tip. Still an enjoyable vape, and it actually fits on this mod a lot better than the 30 millimeter and the 31 millimeter atomizers. Airflow is still smooth and quiet. Let's take a look at this top cap. I didn't research any of this stuff before I did it. And as it looks like, this does come out. It's just butted so tightly. The drip tip, it's just butted so tightly in here that it felt like it was pressed into there. Let's take a closer look at this, because there's no O-ring on here. And if we look at the top cap, there's no O-ring in the top cap either. Interesting. Is this really a 510 connection? I'm gonna have to grab my box. Give me a second. I might as well put some music back on. On my PMTA vlog, I opened up a package of stuff I ordered, and most of the drip tips I ordered were 810 drip tips. However, I did order a 510 drip tip, because I do have a couple tanks that are like that. See? Now this one, I didn't realize when I ordered it, but if you take a look at this, it's reduced down. So this would allow you to do mouth to lung, which is going to be a con for some people with the AROMAMIZER Supreme. My goodness. Give me a second, I need to change batteries. Okay, here we go. This is made for mouth to lung. This could be used either as a mouth to lung or a direct lung. Interesting. Now, the draw on here is actually still loose. So if you were doing a mouth to lung, perhaps if you put this drip tip into there, you could do mouth to lung. So I'm gonna go and take a little bit of break. I'm gonna go to use these for a little while. And I'll come back and finish the recording later. Interesting. Yep. I'll catch you guys in a couple minutes. Well, for you, it'll be just like that. So, what do I think of this? Well, it's an unfair competition. The AROMAMIZER Plus V2. Let's run this at 90 watts a day. Nice, enjoyable vape. Very flavorful. Cool on the most part. Now, granted, if you use it and start chain vaping, you'll get some heat to it. The GLAZ V2. Crank this up to 90. Very nice. Kind of a warm vape. But it's no comparison. You see, I did change the drip tip on it. A lot smaller airflow on this one. They just can't compete. Using the exact same coils that we have on the AROMAMIZER Plus and the GLAZ. In this one, the Supreme V2, no competition. Oh, that's hot. Just like this tank gets when I'm running the same coils. Ohming out at 0.23 for the dual, but these are Flat Clapton from Coil Master. 0.3 and 0.8 millimeter 32 gauge Kanthal A1, 3 millimeter diameter. Too much coil for this tank. So you can't honestly compare these three tanks together as a showdown. It's just not a fair competition. It would be like taking and throwing a 14-year-old kid into a Hulk Hogan wrestling match. There's no way the 14-year-old can compare and compete evenly with the big boys. Just the way it goes. So, is it a good tank? Yeah, it's machine grade. But you can't take a tank that has the capability of being a mouth-to-lung tank and have a showdown with direct lung tanks that not only are they direct lung, but with wide open airflow, there's hardly any resistance to this at all. It's like taking a breath of air filled with vape. Nope. These two tanks cannot compete with this one. It's not a fair competition. So, do I like the tank? Yeah. But I gotta put some smaller coils in it, and I think it's time for this boy to be removed from the competition. And I'm gonna build that, or compare it to a mouth to lung tank I have that I haven't opened yet. Been meaning to do. And that would explain why this top drip tip looks more like a chuff cap came on this tank. Yep. Unfortunately, the AROMAMIZER Supreme V2, which has apparently mouth to lung capacity, or a very restricted direct lung, is going to have to be pulled out of this competition. Because this competition is the big boys. Bye-bye, AROMAMIZER Supreme. It's time for the G-Taste Aries. Yep. This tank has the capacity to do not one, not two, but 3 coils. So, it's definitely a big boy. How's it going to perform compared to the AROMAMIZER Plus V2 and the Steam Crave GLAZ V2? Is it going to be able to compete with the smooth airflow, the buttery smooth airflow on these two tanks? What kind of vapor production are we going to get? Is it going to be comparable? Because these two tanks can chuck some clouds. Guess you'll have to stay tuned for the next episode. It's the Steam Crave Showdown with a special guest by the G-Taste Aries 30mm RTA. I know. I know you guys are not happy. This is supposed to be a Steam Crave Showdown. I know we're only going to do Steam Crave products, with this being an honorable mention just as a source of comparison, but I know, I'm sorry. I just can't do it. It's just not the same thing. We need to have an even comparison. This with the Plus and the GLAZ. So our Steam Crave Showdown is now a battle of the big boys. Which one of these three is going to take the supreme spot? Which one's going to come out number one? Huh? What? Why do you think that's funny? This is the only way we're going to be able to compare these evenly with another big boy. Which one's it going to be? I guess you're going to have to watch the next episode when it goes up. Which one of these three is going to compete? Because unfortunately, this one, the AROMAMIZER Supreme V2, it's not big enough to compete with those two. Yes, with the same coils in it, it's producing the same amount of vapor. And yes, with the smaller chimney, it's concentrating that vapor that's coming out. So you're going to get better flavor out of it. However, when you use this with the coils we're using now, it gets hot, like my coffee. There's just no way to evenly compare it. I need to take this, put some smaller coils in it, maybe a simpler build, some mouth to lung coils, some fine coils that have a very fast ramp up time and don't produce as much heat as this does, and see how she does. So that wraps it up for today. I know it wasn't what you were expecting, it wasn't what I was expecting, but you know, you can't predict these things. I mean, there's a certain amount of science to it, but the ultimate output is, how does it perform? Because we're chasing flavor. That wraps up for today. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Come back for the next one. Have a great day.